Once upon a time, there was a girl named Sophia, a recent university graduate after studying the career of her dreams, environmental sciences. Since she was a child, Sophia always liked to go out and explore the forest, be a Girl Scout, take care of animals, listen to documentaries from different natural areas of the world, and connect with the earth. So she dedicated herself a lot to her studies in Mexico, and one of her goals was to be able to work in other countries which had to do with nature. She had a great opportunity to help the environment. After graduating, she was hired by CareNet, a research company dedicated to caring for the environment and specializing in the Amazon. So she accepted the position since the Amazon is one of the most important natural areas of the American continent due to its variety of florals and animals. So since it was her first trip to the Amazon, Sophia was a little nervous, since she did not know anyone. But when she arrived at the Amazon, she was so excited to see how beautiful it was because of the entire ecological niche that inhabited it was simply beautiful. She couldn't believe how everything coexisted in an undescribable balance.
She couldn't believe how everything coexisted in an indescribable balance. The investigation of that occasion was led by George, his boss, who was serious and spent most of the time resting inside the tents, so Sophia preferred to avoid it as much as possible. The first day, Sophia was too excited, so in her 30 minutes of lunch, she decided to go to explore to a place a little bit. Because of her, that was a unique experience, and she wanted to get the most out of it. Unfortunately, she didn't realize that she was getting further away from her companions, and while she was following a blue bird, she slipped and rolled into a ditch. As she fell, she was hit on the back of her neck with a branch, causing her to pass out. When Sophia began to regain consciousness, she realized that the sun was beginning to hide and she got scared, since she didn't know where she was. When she tried to get up, she realized that her ankle was hurt and that was covered in mud and dirt. When she tried to get his bearings to return to his companions, she realized that something was approaching because she heard footsteps. First, she shouted because she thought it was one of his companions, but in reality a jaguar came out of the bushes. So Sophia was surprised quite a lot and didn't know what to do. But suddenly the jaguar asked her how she was feeling, and Sophia couldn't believe that she had understood what he said. After Sophia told him what happened, the jaguar helped her walk and told her that he would take her to a place to clean up. On the way, Sophia took advantage of his new friend and asked the jaguar how many things about the Amazon. The jaguar told him that his story of how for many generations they had the mission of taking care of the ecosystem, since that was their role as an umbrella species. She also told him that she knew about the place, how beautiful it seemed to her, and how she admired the work of the jaguar. When they arrived at their destination, Sophia discovered that it was a large mangrove swamp where the jaguar tells her that it was a prestige mangrove swamp, which no human had ever known. Sophia is surprised and tells the jaguar that it was a beautiful place with a lot of nature and very rich. Sophia then continues to discover more of this history, and at the new place she cleaned herself up and the jaguar helped her to walk.
When night falls, the jaguar returns to help Sophia so that she can find her companions. She does not stop thanking him and asking him what he can do in return. The jaguar only asks for him one thing: to keep the mangrove a secret, since it is a very important place for all of the animals of the Amazon, and they do not want humans with bad intentions to harm you. So she promises not to tell anyone. When she finds his colleagues and his boss, they begin to ask him where he was for so long and why he separated. She tells him about her accident, but she admits the jaguar and the mangrove, saying instead that she came to an estuary where the dirt was cleared off, and that's why she's wet. But her boss begins to suspect her because with her leg injury, she couldn't go to the nearest estuary so quickly and return to camp. So the next day, Jorge decides to go with another investigator to find out why Sophia lied. Following his footsteps on his own, the boss manages to find the mangrove, which excites him a lot, and he begins to call more researchers to start working discreetly, since Jorge and part of the researchers are actually paid to exploit different natural resources. And while a part of the team works investigating the natural area in a normal way, they are in charge of exploiting as much as they can and report to companies that can take advantage of it without knowing how much it affects the ecosystem. A few days pass and Sophia begins to discover something strange in her investigation, since in her free time, instead of exploring again, she investigates properties in more areas than those her boss had asked her to. And compared with the first samples of hers, the new ones of hers showed slight changes in a very short time. When she was going to check the water sample of one of the natural runoffs that they were created by the rains, a green spider monkey came out of nowhere,
Spider
scaring her.
Monkey apologized and introduced himself as one of the endemic species of the place. The jaguar was his friend and had told him about it. Sophia asked her why she was looking for it, and the spider monkey told her that she had discovered something strange on the ground, because part of the land with erosion were beginning to appear, which made no sense to her. Sophia began to investigate, and her investigation took her the mangrove that the jaguar had shown her. But when she arrived, she discovered a machine and truck that she had never seen. Sophia was surprised to see how they were the machine such a beautiful place in this way, because in the distance she couldn't see a green turtle. One of the flagship space of the place was coming out of the mangrove, which did not look anything like the clean and beautiful place that was a few days ago. Now it had a lot of eutrophication. In addition to that, many areas of the air began to suffer from erosion. He heard boys approaching and quietly hid.
When he looked for the origin of the voices, he discovered that it was Jorge with other researchers. Sophia was surprised to see that they were damaging such a beautiful place in this way. Escadita hears all the damage they have done and how they plan to blow up the place, and she doesn't know what to do. The jaguar appears and helps her out of hiding. When they are alone, the jaguar begins to tell him how Jorge and his investigators have been damaging the entire area due to water contamination, falling trees, extraction of nutrients, and many more reasons. The jaguar showed his fear that his home and that many other animals would be irreplaceably damaged.